Hello, BookTube. Surprise third video here. I finished making a video about boring books I found at the Brattle, and then I got up to take Malin Moore outside and to feed the sparrows, and lo and behold, on the front porch there are more books. No doorbell, no nothing. Which fits with Saturday. Saturday is when the non-usual guy, my usual guy doesn't work on Saturday, he would ring the doorbell and wait for me to answer it so that he could talk to me. He's been very good. He's been very good in the last 2 months. Very much wants to talk to me to make sure I'm doing okay. He used to love Lucy, my basset hound. Everybody in the whole neighborhood did, and he says that he's mentioned that that when he drives around, he sometimes sees me when I'm out with just Malin Moore, and it always strikes him as very sad. And he says, you know, if that's true for him, he can only imagine what it is for me. So he likes to ring the bell so I can go out and chat for a bit. And the reason that these were on the porch without any of that is because it isn't him. It's Saturday. But I figured it gives us one more mail haul to do. This will certainly be the last mail haul of the week. Because the next time I go out there, the sparrows will be in bed. There'll be no other mail. But let's see what kind of trouble we can get into just with these. It's just 4 packages. And God forbid I open them without you. So what is this first one? Okay. It's got a great title and a great cover design, actually. It's called Exact Thinking in Demented Times by Carl Sigmund. And the subtitle is The Vienna Circle and the Epic Quest for the Foundations of Science. I did not request this, but Basic Books is great, so let's see what this is. In post-World War I Europe, against a backdrop of political disintegration, a group of Viennese thinkers came together with the aim of securing what seemed like the creaking foundations of math, physics, and philosophy. Inspired by Einstein's revolutionary proof of the existence of the atom, and Bertrand Russell and David Hilbert's pursuit of the most fundamental rules of mathematics, some of the most brilliant minds of a generation joined forces to debate questions such as: what characterizes scientific knowledge? Do metaphysical statements have any meaning? What makes logical propositions so certain? Why is mathematics applicable to the real world? In this book, acclaimed Viennese mathematician Carl Sigmund, oh God, he's one of them, tells the dramatic story of this monumental period in 20th century thought. And of course, you want to know who these people are, right? Founded by philosopher Moritz Schlick, mathematician Hans Hahn, Hahn. Edon Samuel is a towering figure in math, the math geeks that are out there, and social reformer Otto Neurath. The group, which met weekly from 1924 through 1936, good lord, was eventually joined by Kurt Gödel and Rudolf Carnap, and was influenced by the likes of Wittgenstein, Willard Quine. Is he another mathematician? Is he some sort of German philosopher I should know about? Oh, God. And Karl Popper. Among other things, their collaborations gave birth to logical positivism, logical syntax of languages, marginal utility, a book about Deb, phenomenology, and the modern scientific method. Sigmund has spent a lifetime fascinated by the Vienna Circle. I guess that's what these people were called. And he weaves analysis of its groundbreaking theories with an account of the thrilling lives its participants led. Wow. Okay. What an amazing adventure. I know virtually nothing about this subject. That's awesome. So this comes out in early December. The exact thinking in demented times. Good lord. All right. Part of why I love my job. I learn new things all the time. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. This is the finished copy of a made-up story of a novel that's actually really good. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I very much look forward to reading it again. Oh, fantastic. Great. So this is late August. Wow, the author's doing a ton of press for it. This is a novel called by Alex Gilvari called Eastman Was Here. Pretty distinctive cover. I can't remember off the top of my head if this is a debut. Let's see. Well, let me read it to you anyway because it was very good. This is one of those books where I very much want to read it again. Named one of the National Book Foundation's prestigious 5 under 35. Alex Gavari turned heads in 2012 when his debut novel, okay, so there we go, From the Memoirs of a Non-Enemy Combatant, a beguiling satire, garnered a chorus of critical acclaim. In the Boston Globe, John Freeman praised it as lively and hilarious, sure sign that he probably didn't read the whole thing, while Roxane Gay called it original, smart, and incisive for the rumpus. She reads virtually no fiction. So, among other accolades, it was a New York Times Best Book Review Editor's Choice and a Barnes & Noble Discover pick, which means very good news financially for an author. And won the Hornblower Award for first book. This is his second book. Okay. Let's see. The author, while employing the same mordant sense of humor for which he was praised in his debut, depicts one irredeemable man's search for meaning in the age of the Vietnam War and political artistic culture of the 1970s New York City. It's 1973, and Alan Eastman, a washed-up writer, public intellectual, accidental cultural critic, husband, and philanderer, finds himself alone on the floor of his study, mired in an existential crisis. His wife has left him and taken the kids, and it feels like his best years are behind him. In the depths of his despair, he receives a phone call from an old rival offering him a chance at reclaiming the literary glory of reporting on the Vietnam War. Ready for his triumphant comeback, Eastman is met upon arrival in Saigon by a motley cast, including Anne Channing, an indefatigable young American journalist who immediately bruises his ego and steals his heart. Apprehensive of Saigon's ever-present dangers and sweltering heat, Eastman often finds himself cowering at the hotel bar, contemplating if the quest to pick up the pieces was a fool's errand. With his second act off to a rocky start, will Eastman unearth the courage within himself and reestablish himself as a preeminent author of his time? And this is, I think I might have praised already on this channel, a new novel this season called Less. This is very similar. This is, in some ways, this is another novel about a washed-up writer, which was a cottage subgenre on its own in the 70s. And I kind of thought it was dead. I really did. I kind of thought that the absolute ubiquity of writing workshops, the professionalization of creative writing, would sort of kill that whole subgenre. And yet, Less, by Max Allan Greer, was fantastic. It's a fantastic novel. And this is fantastic, too. And they're both about washed-up middle-aged writers. So go figure. It's very nice to have a novel on this channel that I can recommend. I'll go back to it when we're finished. Let's get on to this next one. Oh, wonderful. Okay. This is another novel. It's one I haven't read, but I'm looking forward to it. This is by Maria Dueñas, and it is The Vineyard, with lovely gold inlaid leaves on the cover. Just look at how pretty that cover is. Jeez. And it's very nice. So there's a little brochure for the vineyard, and inside it is the pub sheet. Very nice. This comes out in October, and it is a magnificent story of ambition, heartbreak, and desire set in 1860s Mexico, Cuba, and Spain. With the debut of her brilliant first novel, the New York Times bestseller, The Time in Between. So once again, we're dealing with the second novel. Dueñas was lauded for her descriptive and lyrical narrative and uniquely touching protagonists. In a starred review, Publishers Weekly praised it, called her a writer to watch, etc., etc. And then in this new book is a powerful story of courage in the face of adversity and a destiny forever altered by the force of passion. Mauro Larrea's fortune, the result of years of hardship and toil, comes crashing down on the heels of a calamitous event. Swamped by debt and uncertainty, he gambles the last of his money in a daring play that wins him an abandoned house and a vineyard an ocean away. Mauro travels to Andalusia in Spain with every intention of selling the property and returning to Mexico. That is, until he meets the unsettling Soledad, the wife of a London wine merchant who bursts into his life unannounced, determined to protect her family's legacy. Before long, Larrea finds himself immersed in the rich culture of the sherry trade. As his feelings for Soledad ripen into a consuming passion, he seeks to restore the vineyard to its former glory. And that just sounds fantastic to me. So I requested it, and we'll get to it right away. I'll certainly. When did we say this came out? October. I'll certainly get to it before October. Wow. So all right. So we have fiction in here, but Steve is yet not angry. This is very strange. And then this is the last one. The last one. What a book-heavy day. Good Lord. You people, I swear. Okay, so this is by Satya Bhatani. It's called A Crime in the Family, a World War II secret buried in silence, and my search for the truth. Okay, so this comes out in October. It's a memoir of brutality, heroism, personal discovery from Europe's dark heart, revealing one of the most extraordinary untold stories of World War II. In the spring of 1945, on the Austrian-Hungarian border, Countess Margit Bhatani, why do I know that name? BattyhyanY. Why do I know that name? Well, anyway, I'm pronouncing it wrong, of course. Gave a party in her mansion. The war was almost over, and the gathered German aristocrats and SS officers knew it was lost. Late that night, they walked down to the village where 180 enslaved Jewish laborers waited and made them strip naked, shooting them all before returning to the bright lights of the party. It remained a family secret for decades until Satya Bhatani, who remembered his great aunt Margit only vaguely from childhood, began to ask questions about it. A Crime in the Family is his memoir of confronting these questions and the answers he found. It is one of the last untold stories of Europe's nightmare century that witnessed not just the inhumanity of Auschwitz, the chaos of wartime Budapest, and the brutalities of Soviet occupation, but also the countless silent crimes of complicity and cover-up. This is a moving story revealing barbarity and tragedy, but also a measure of peace and reconciliation. Doesn't that sound fascinating? So his great aunt throws a party at her mansion in Budapest for a whole bunch of German officers and SS people, and they interrupt the party to go down to the village and just randomly shoot Jewish slaves and then go back to the party? It sounds like something out of Günter Grass, doesn't it? It doesn't sound like something that would actually be real. I wonder if the author is going to find out that it's elaborated. He was born in Switzerland in 1973. Good Lord. I don't have a single article of clothing on me right now that's as young as that. To Hungarian emigre parents. He's the editor of, it looks like a Swiss newspaper, and is now a political reporter based in Washington. Wow, that sounds fascinating. I tell you, the folks at Da Capo Press, they never let me down. So we have A Crime in the Family, which I'm now, of course, ravenous to read. We have The Vineyard, a big, lavish novel, it looks like. And then Eastman Was Here, another novel, but it's a hoot. It's really worth your time. So if you, like, for instance, I'm not expecting you people to go out and pay $30 for these things. And I'm not trying to be cavalier about it either. But if you see this, the process that I like to recommend to the rest of you is that, you know, if you see a book on this channel that you think is of interest, you are in a prime position to order it for your library, to get a copy. And if you read it at the library, because I don't want to undercut these authors' livelihoods completely, if you read it at the library and love it, then go out and buy it. But I could strongly recommend Eastman Was Here. And then Exact Thinking and Demented Times. So we've got two books in here of nonfiction that are total adventures for me. Things that I didn't request, and I don't know everything in the world about, so they're not treading on familiar territory. I'm just going to be reading them to learn, which is a wonderful feeling. So that's fantastic. All right, well, there we go. So that was an unexpected extra mail haul, and I'll wrap it up here, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.